Good evening, everyone. My name is Felicia Hernandez. I am the Director of Alumni Relations. I would like to welcome you to our series of Toro Industry Days. This particular program is partnered with our Career Center and the College of Education, and we are featuring Los Angeles Unified School District. And this panel includes our teachers, counselors, and administrators, and who you all will have the opportunity to ask questions on. I hope everyone's an aspiring educator and you can explore career opportunities about LAUSD and how they made an impact within Los Angeles Unified School District and how and you can hear from tonight's alumni all the opportunities that are available for you and how they are hiring our Toros. And so I welcome you all. A few housekeeping items before we get started. I would like to just let you know that this is a recorded message, and this is also going to be published on our alumni website for your future reference. And however if you would like to, if you miss something, you have the opportunity to go back and watch it. Any questions from the audience, feel free to add them to the chat box. Between myself and Gilbert Hernandez, who is my colleague here in the alumni office, we'll be able to answer them accordingly, and we'll make sure you get them answered. At the end of the workshop, we will also have a time for Q&A, and it will be there's a raised hand feature within the chat box. And if you can also use that, we would be able to call upon you during the course of the program when we get to the Q&A portion. So with that, I would like to turn it over to the Dean of College of Education, Jessica Pena, who just joined us recently between a few months ago now. And so I'd like to turn it over to her to provide a welcome. Jessica.
Hi, Felicia. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. My name is Dean Jessica Pandia, and I'm the relatively new Dean of the College of Education at Dominguez Hills. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm really excited to be here tonight. I'm going to start with a land acknowledgement. We do this at Dominguez Hills a lot. We acknowledge that the land on which we would be on if we were gathered in person at Dominguez Hills is the home and traditional land belonging to the Tongva peoples. I invite us to think globally and acknowledge all Native peoples of Turtle Island. Today, we come with respect and gratitude for the Tongva people and ancestors who still consider themselves the caretakers of this land. It's through their examples that we're reminded of our greater responsibility to take care of Mother Earth and to take care of each other. I'm going to tell you a tiny bit about myself, and then I'm going to turn this exciting panel over. I was once a kindergarten teacher in San Francisco Unified School District, so a little bit to the north of our LAUSD partners. I went to graduate school at Berkeley, and then I was lucky enough to get a job at Cal State Long Beach, where I was a professor just up the road for 16 years. I came to Dominguez Hills to be the dean mostly because of the mission and vision of the College of Education, which is grounded in principles of equity, justice, and critical consciousness. And I also came here to work with these fabulous people, fabulous students, fabulous faculty and staff. And I'm really excited today to learn more from our alumni. So I want to say just a few things. One thing is that I'm meeting with district partners and this whole year and listening to what districts need and what districts want. And I'm really excited to hear how LAUSD in particular, how people we've graduated work in the district and what they want from us and what they've learned from us. So I want to say one of our most valuable resources is our alumni. Colleges of education are really unique in that our alums are literally teaching our students. So we rely on our alums to host for early field work, for mentoring student teachers and interns, for counseling. And we invite you all back to become our school leadership program students. And soon enough, when we have our education doctorate in a few years, we'll invite you to come back for that too. So I want to say welcome to everyone. I want to particularly thank Michael, Tamesha, Alman, Gilbert, and Rhiannon. Your alma mater appreciates you and your commitment to our students and our university. Your knowledge and expertise will further position our students in their career aspirations in LAUSD and beyond. So I look forward to hearing what you folks have to say. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Jessica. Now, we are going to turn it over to our amazing panel. I'm going to ask the panel to introduce themselves individually. And then from there, I would like for them to provide their grad year and employer, where they work. Of course, we know what they're all working for LAUSD, but what they do within LAUSD. And then we'll turn it over to the moderator, Gilbert Hernandez, to get the panel going. So with that, we'll go ahead and ask, we'll start with Rihanna.
Hi, everybody. My name is Rhiannon Chavez. I am a fourth grade teacher at 186th Street Elementary School. I received my multiple subject credential at Dominguez in 2014. I had an amazing experience there. And I'm so grateful because during my time there, I was placed at 186th Street School, my student teaching. And from there, I was hired as a teacher. So I've been there for 8 years at 186th Street. I just recently, 2020-21 LAUSD and LA County Teacher of the Year. And I pride myself on the relationships that I have with the community and the parents and the students of my school. And I'm just really happy to just talk to you and let you know how amazing LAUSD is. And I'm excited to answer some questions and get to know you. Thank you.
Gilbert, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. I am Gilbert Rivera. I am a college and career counselor at Rancho Dominguez Preparatory School, part of LA Unified. I graduated from Dominguez Hills, Master's in Counseling in 2006. Same year that I was recognized by the Hispanic Heritage Fund as National Teacher of the Year because I was still teaching. Been a teacher, middle school counselor, college counselor, and as well, I also represent LA Unified's counselors and students on the Financial Aid Advisory Board for the California Student Aid Commission monthly meetings. And yeah, it's continuously, and I also train college counselors throughout the year when asked from the district, and help make sure that we always try to get have the best trained out there and informed and ready to help our students.
Hello, my fellow Toros. My name is Tamesha Donald. I'm proud principal of William J. Johnson Community Day School in San Pedro in wonderful local district South. I graduated from Dominguez with my Master's of Arts in Education in 2004. I also received my PPS at that time, as well as my administrative credential. I'm in my 22nd year with Los Angeles Unified School District, 4th year as a principal, and I have had a wonderful opportunity to have a lot of different experiences in Los Angeles Unified. I began as a teacher assistant, then became a teacher. I did the wonderful counseling program and became a counselor and was with pupil services and attendance, was a counseling coordinator, and now I've moved on into as an instructional leader as a principal. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I look forward to sharing any information that will be helpful to get more wonderful people within Los Angeles Unified. Thank you for having me.
All right, Toros. My name is Amen Raw. I'm the founding principal of University Pathways Public Service Academy. I'm born and raised from Compton. I wear this hat just to represent, to change the narrative around young boys of color that come from the city of where I come from. At my school that we opened in the wonderful LAUSD local district South, we just yielded a 100% graduation rate. I went through Dominguez Hills. I got my special ed credential, got my master's, I got my administrative credential. I was accepted in the UCLA doctoral program to get my doctorate. I chose a different route, but I did have a brewing spirit. I see it, Gilbert, behind you. So they have a little brewing spirit. I know our superintendent is Trojan, but I just come to you just to charge you to be well spirited in the light of being an educator. I'm excited for you to be part of the wonderful and the second largest district in the nation. For myself, I started off as a teacher assistant at a non-public school. I was a substitute teacher, went to be a teacher, went to be dean, went to assistant principal, and I was lucky enough to be one of the youngest founding principals in LAUSD history at the age of 29. So I charge you to be spirited. I charge you to take care of self, but I charge you to focus on the love for young people during this time. So I'm excited for the conversation.
Mike, we're gonna turn it over to you, and then at your end of your introduction, if you can also please provide the overview of LAUSD and share a little bit about the mission.
Sure, absolutely. And good evening, everybody. I'm the proud local district South Superintendent, Michael Romero. This is my 33rd year with LA Unified. I come from a family of teachers. In fact, my mother graduated from Cal State Dominguez Hills before it was a university, when it was a college. And as a little boy, I used to come to the night classes with her. I got my master's from Dominguez Hills, my teaching credential, my administrative credential. And I'll tell you what, Cal State Dominguez is a community school that has blessed all of us on this line. We can go on and on about the stories and the foundation that Dominguez Hills laid for us. Local District South, Los Angeles Unified School District, second largest district in America. We serve almost 700,000 students. 100,000 students are in charter schools. And so we have over 200 charter schools. We have pilot schools, we have early ed centers, we have outstanding special ed centers, elementary, middle, high school. We have magnets, thriving magnets in every area you can imagine, dual language programs. And in LA Unified, diversity is our strength. And those opportunities for families and for you as future educators are there as well. It is just a wonderful place to be. 33 years with LA Unified, many different positions. I was a teacher, principal for 10 years, teacher for 9 years. I oversaw our district's reading program at one point. I was the chief strategy officer for the district at one point. I was second in command of operations at one point in my career. And actually, this is the second time I'm going back to being the local district superintendent and local district South. And I wanted to be here tonight because I want to recruit all of you. Look no further than local district South and LA Unified. All of us are in local district South. But I did, when you talked, you asked me about our mission for LA Unified, and it applies for local district South. So you students on the line now, just know that in LA Unified, we believe in social justice. And what that means is we believe in expanding opportunities for students. So when I talk about pilot schools and magnet schools and dual language programs and the enrichment programs we have and the athletic programs, we are constantly expanding those opportunities for our youth. Also in LA Unified and local district South, we believe in doing something about the inequities that do exist in our communities. Doing something about that. So when we talk about equity and access in LA Unified and in local district South, what that means is our communities with the most needs get more of the resources. We double down. So the reason I would not be no place else in my career, and I've had many opportunities, is because of the opportunities in LA Unified and the students and families we serve. Following in my mom's footsteps, I wanted to give back to a community that I felt that needed me as an up and coming educator. I wanted to give back to a community of students of color, impoverished. There were homeless and foster youth, and I taught for 9 years in the heart of Skid Row at 9th Street School. We are 750 square miles, serving 700,000 students in all geographic areas. So for you as students at Dominguez Hills, know that there are tremendous opportunities for you to give back and to think about, why are you in that program at Dominguez Hills? Why do you want to give back? And then think about the communities you can give back to in Los Angeles. I've been blessed, and I think all of us on this line have been blessed because of the opportunities once you come on board. So for you up and coming teachers, there is no better professional development infrastructure, I say, in the nation than what we offer in local district South and in LA Unified. That includes building the capacity of our principals. If you want to be a psychiatric social worker, we're the place to be. If you want to be a PSA counselor or a college counselor, we are the place to be. There is support. There are opportunities for growth. We've all had wonderful opportunities to grow. And some of you will come in and you'll start teaching for a couple of years and say, no, I don't want to go into administration. I don't want to coach, but you never know. And when you're in LA Unified, there are tremendous opportunities to grow. You don't have to be an administrator. You can have a leadership role in so many different ways. And the last thing I wanted to share, living proof on this screen is the excellence in LA Unified. And that's why we need folks like you. Ms. Chavez, I don't know if you heard, LA County and LA Unified Teacher of the Year, right here in Local District South, Gardena, a hop, skip, and a jump from 186th Street. Marsha Reed, you can see her on the line, retired now. She had a street named after her outside of her school, 186, because I would tell her she was the best principal in America. And we all know that. Amon Raw, we're all Toros. We're all from the community. We're all from LA Unified. Amon Raw is an exemplar principal. By the way, that image behind him, Revolutionary Educator, he's a published author, and we're in the thick of that book right now. He lives and breathes what he talks about equity and access and social justice. Tamesha Donald is no jive principal. Same with Amon. They don't get any better. Homegrown Toros, exemplar principals. And Gilbert Rivera, he's a humble man. He'll never tell you, one of the best counselors you will ever see in America. Anybody who works with Gilbert, any student who's ever worked with them, it doesn't get any better. So we are Toros, we are Dominguez Hills, raised and trained and like you, and you don't think of any other place than LA Unified. Great things are happening. They're great people. We're big, but we're small, and we're a family. Diversity is our strength. You want to give back to your community, you better believe it. There's no better place. But thank you for the opportunity of being here this evening.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. As you all know, the Toro Network is strong with over 100,000 alumni who have graduated from Dominguez and all looking to support our current students. And we're going to hear more from our panelists. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Gilbert Hernandez, who's our Senior Coordinator of Alumni Relations and lead today's panel discussion. So with that, Gil, go ahead.
Thank you very much for that, Felicia. Thank you very much for having me join on and ask you all these questions. I have about 9 questions for the panel here, so go ahead and jump in whenever you'd like. With question number 1, please introduce yourself, your role, and give a brief overview of your district. Rhiannon, why don't we start with you?
My name is Rhiannon Chavez. I'm a 4th grade teacher at 186th Street Elementary School. I work obviously with LAUSD and one of the best schools, 186th Street in Gardena. Hop, skip, and a jump, and Dominguez Hills got me there. So thank you to that.
Thank you for that. Tamesha, would you like to go next?
So yes, I'm Tamesha Donald, principal of William J. Johnston Community Day School. And what we do as an alternative school, we support all middle and high schools in local district South. We provide a different environment for students who need something smaller than the comprehensive environment. So maybe they've historically struggled, or as sometimes students do, have a bump along the road. So what we do is take those students in, help them improve their academics, help them do some behavioral adjustment with the goal of hopefully returning to their comprehensive high school. So we are, I always call us a school of not a second chance or a third chance, but a school of another chance, because we provide another chance so our students can be successful.
Thank you for that. Gilbert, would you like to go next?
Yeah, sure. Gilbert Rivera, the college and career counselor at Rancho Dominguez. I mean, the focus is really finding the right program, finding the right career path for each student, and having them understand that a college and career center isn't just for those students that are bound for a community or four-year school. It's for finding that perfect trade school, making sure that they get an affordable education, and making sure you get them on the right path, and making sure that they understand that there's all these options and they should be open to all of them. That way they can have choices versus just having one at the end of the year. So it's just a matter of doing that information, advocating, and empowering and giving ambition to them. Is the best way I could put it.
Thank you for that, Gilbert. Professor Ra, Principal Ra.
No, it's
Excuse me.
all good. My father was a professor for 34 years at Long Beach State, so it's all right. You know, my role as a principal, especially at the U, we call ourselves the change agents, and for our students, you know, like I want everybody to feel like somebody. Like every student at the school to feel like somebody. And for us, we want to build a pipeline of power for their dreams to come true. In our educational system, I want our schools to be dream catchers and not dream crushers. So we want to be able to catch the young students' dreams so they can now have the passion and the critical hope for their dreams to come true, whether it be in the safety net of vocational schools or at higher institutions like the wonderful Toros, right? So we just really want to build that. And I think once if we're an educator, you know, what if you had the next big thing in your classroom? If we treated every student like the next big thing, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that they feel love, they feel hope, and that they know that their dreams are possible.
Thank you, Principal Ra. Mike Romero, would you like to go?
Sure. Everybody, Local District South, we serve 150 schools and over 80,000 students. As I shared, we are a diverse local district. Folks on the line, I'm gonna share two fundamental things. And this is, you know, after 33 years in education, you've spent like 10,000 hours in doing things. You fall on your face, you break an egg sometimes, you get up and you keep on going. But we believe in economic goals for our students. Probably haven't heard that term economic, but what that means is we have one overriding goal in Local District South, and that is 100% of our kids graduate from high school. We've had 3 consecutive all-time high years of graduation rates, over 90%, but we're not satisfied because we still have kids that don't graduate. And if you don't graduate, you can't go to Cal State Dominguez Hills. So this idea of an economic goal of graduation into college or career is so important. Nobody can disagree with that. But we also have another goal around a humanistic goal. And we're trying to grow and always get better with this. And that is, do our students feel safe and welcome and engaged on our campus? Do they come in at kindergarten and by the time they leave at 12th grade, they feel like their voice is heard, that they're engaged, that they're respected, that we provide a rigorous education? Are they fair, respectful when they leave us and they're no longer by the side of a teacher? So I just share that with you. We think about certainly college and career, no doubt about it. We want our kids to have what we have here on the screen. We have good paying jobs, we own property, we have retirement, we have health benefits. We want that for every one of our students. But at the same time, we want our kids to feel connected and their voices heard and respect, and this mutual respect, and to collaborate with others, and to always think about high expectations and excellence. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mike. Rhiannon, we'll circle back to you. What do your day-to-day responsibilities look like? Is any day typical?
I'm laughing because they're never the same, right? You go in with this plan, and I'm a planner. I plan for the whole week and have this amazing lessons, and you never know what's going to happen. And I think teaching is an art form. It's a craft that you always have to just try to be better at and have passion for, because our kids come to us with needs, and their need on Monday might not be that need on Wednesday or Thursday. So you have to really adjust those lessons to make sure that, like Mr. Romero said, that they are feeling validated, that they do feel loved. And sometimes my day, I might not be able to teach those lessons because I'm dealing with emotional hurt, or especially coming from this pandemic, you know, the kids just want to feel love. They want their teacher there. They want their teacher to listen about their stories and their families. And so I could say that if I'm going to tell you what my typical day is, it would just be love, laughter, learning, acceptance, and kindness. Standards will come after that, but when a classroom starts there with that foundation, then that's when they soar. That's when they learn. That's when they're like sponges, right? But it can't start without those days of the good mornings and the hugs and the, well, I'm smiling with my eyes these days, right? But they can tell that I'm super excited that they're there. So I think there is no typical day, but if you start your day out with love, then you will find lots of learning in every classroom.
Thank you for that, Rhiannon. Tamesha?
Like Rihanna, no 2 days are the same at all. As a principal, I think one of the things that makes it unique is that you're supporting, of course, the students, but you're supporting the teachers, you're supporting the entire staff. And I tell my students and the staff, the one thing that I need to ensure of every day is that they are absolutely safe. Before we can even educate them, I want to make sure that they are safe. And what does safety look like? It looks like you said, smiling at them in the morning, letting them and building their confidence. A lot of our students, because the struggles they've had in the past, they have lost their confidence, and somehow some believe that they can't do it when they absolutely can. I know that they can. We believe in them that they can. And it's just reminding them every day that you are here, you have a purpose, and you are going to graduate. Whether they graduate from Johnston, whether they graduate from their resident school, the bottom line is that they are smart, they can graduate, and they can get a productive life afterwards. So on a daily, it's conversations like this with my students, with the teachers, and making sure that we are all on one accord to helping our students graduate and helping them, more than anything, believe in themselves.
Thank you for that, Tamesha. Gilbert, would you like to go next?
Sure. I have to reiterate the no typical day, but besides, doing the usual housekeeping of checking emails and responding, and it's about really exposing our students, trying to get every single student exposed to something and finding out what it is they want to do, or even helping them figure out what it is they could do. It was especially difficult in the pandemic to try to get kids to come see you to do any career assessment, and get them to do some personal dives into themselves. And, it's been a challenge, but even then, right now I have kids that have struggled of trying to figure out what it is they want to do, and it's trying to still break through that, on top of helping kids with their applications, understanding this first big step, reading essays, writing recommendations, doing presentations in classrooms, and giving students updates on their GPAs every semester. That on top of PDs and all this other stuff, it's very atypical every single day. I mean, you have plans, things that you have set in mind that you want to complete for the day, but sometimes they have to be pushed aside for other needs, particularly for a student or for a class. So it's a matter of flexibility, really. That's my spiel.
Well said, Gilbert. Thank you for that. Principal Ra?
All right, listen, man, how much time y'all got if you want to know how much I do in this day? But listen, this work is hard. Like it's not for the faint. This work is hard. Like for dreams to, like, I save and transform lives daily. And like, you gotta have a mentality to come in and be hungry to serve young people in your community, be humble because you don't know it all, and be smart with interpersonal relationships. So the day in my life looks like in front of the morning doing welfare checks, doing handshakes and stuff with my kids. Then it looks like 5 minutes later, working with a kid to try to de-escalate them from a suicidal ideation. Then the next day I'm working with teachers, making sure that they're dealing with self-care, making sure that they're ready to be in front of young people. Then I'm checking emails, making sure, my wonderful local district superintendent is everything right. Then it's later on doing lunch supervision. And then we're making sure COVID is compliant. I'm saying this to say that, you got to have a love for young people. right? And I love every one of my babies, right? But a day in a life like me look like one day a student saying like, coming to my school is the best decision of my life. While the next day, I have one of my graduates saying like, I don't know what I'm gonna do with my life, right? And for me, my mission is to revolutionize the educational experience, and it's not to graduation. Like, these are my babies until they get to a living wage. Superintendent Romero talked about it. Like, we want students to be that, we want to close the wealth gap. We want students to feel like they could do things in their life, but that takes a living wage in America. And a lot of times we are not building those safety nets post-secondary to make sure that they still have the resources that they need to thrive. So, the day in the life is hard, but it's so rewarding. And I think like, that's the beauty of it. I love it. So that's it.
Great response, Principal Ra. Superintendent Romero.
Sure. All of you students have made the right decision. You're going to be very blessed at the end of your career many years from now to say, I'm so glad I went into education and serving the most precious youth that you can imagine. I get to my office every day between 6 and 6:30. I spend a good hour and a half just paperwork, emails, strategizing, thinking through. But almost every single day I'm in and out of schools and classrooms. In fact, Gilbert, you don't even know I'm scheduled to be at Rancho Dominguez tomorrow. Tamesha, I was at your school last week, and Principal Ra just 2 weeks ago. You cannot lead what you don't know. You can't, if you're not in and out of schools and classrooms, how can you support? How can you showcase? How can you cheerlead? How can you lead? So a lot of the time, so that means that I think about the teaching and learning as fundamental, prioritize constantly. What's the rigor like? Have we supported our teachers and staff and our principals and our students learning? I spend a lot of time talking about attendance and reclassifying English learners and identifying kids in GATE programs, and how we encourage kids to talk during math. We call it student discourse, and to share out, and to never deny kids the opportunity to struggle productively. We talk about, I look for signature practices and what we train around in ELA. So it's the teaching and learning, but also followed by managing a district, because we must ensure safe, well-maintained, welcoming environments for our students. They both go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. So it's roaming through schools and classrooms and strategizing, connected to what we look for and train around. And by the way, in between those visits all day long, even right now as I'm talking, there's texts coming in and I'm texting back. I check in with our leadership team and I check in with principals constantly. You cannot lead what you don't know. You cannot support. You can't cheerlead and celebrate the excellence that's happening. When I shared Tamesha and Dr. Ra, exemplar principals, they walk the walk and talk the talk because I know their work. I know Gilbert's work. Ms. Chavez doesn't get any better. And please, Marsha Reed, I see you shaking your head. There's a Marsha Reed Square on 186th Street School. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So thank you so much for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you very much for that. Rhiannon, we'll come back to you. A couple of you have probably already discussed this, but this is going to go a little bit further. So what has your career path looked like? And did your degree or degrees from CSUDH and elsewhere prepare you for your current role?
I started as a teacher's assistant with LAUSD in 2005. No, I take it back. I want to say right after high school, I started as a teacher's assistant. I went back to be a substitute at 2005 at Dana Middle School. I worked there for 9 years. And I just said, you know what? I was having a family and I wanted to be an elementary school teacher. So with a 5-month-old baby, I went back to Dominguez to get my multiple subject credential. And when I tell you that those professors supported me every step of the way as a new mom going back to school at 34 years old, they supported me. They gave me, time, confidence. We talked. And then I became a student teacher at 186th Street. In 2014, I got my credential. And then I was hired at 186th Street, and I've been there ever since for 8 years. So, Dominguez really sparked a community of learning. I still talk to those professors, Professor Sapp, Professor Sarmiento. They were not only professors, but they were almost like family. We still communicate constantly. They're always asking me about my career. They're always sending me messages of encouragement. And now I'm a mentor teacher, and I have student teachers from Dominguez. And the only reason why I do that is because I am so grateful for this opportunity that Dominguez gave me. I believe that I was placed there for a reason. I went there for a reason. I'm at 186th Street for a reason, and that's to empower my students in that community, to love them, to encourage them the way those professors encouraged me, right? So even though I've been, 2014, it's not that long ago, but having those relationships is vital in becoming successful. And look at the relationship with Marsha Reed. Oh my goodness, and it was the six degrees of separation of Marsha Reed. But because of those relationships, now I'm on a panel with Principal Ra and Principal Don, and Gilbert. I'm talking to the superintendent, that. Those are dreams, right? Those are dreams of having this conversation. I'm here snapping my fingers and listening to all of these beautiful things that we're listening to. And it's all because of the path that Dominguez has given me, the LAUSD has given me, and being grateful to be on that path and being grateful to be here. So love CSUDH, love LAUSD, and I'm just excited for future endeavors, meeting all these people. I'm gonna reach out to every single one of you. So thank you.
Well said, Rhiannon. Thank you for that. Tamesha?
So like Rihanna, I started off as a teacher assistant. Then I became a teacher in LAUSD. And one day I'm out working with my student. I started at Gompers Middle School, loved Gompers. And sometimes I found myself spending so much time talking to the students where they had so many bigger things going on. Just like Principal Ross said, a student can be in the clouds one day, everything is going great, and then the next day something happens and you have to immediately circle around and help that student through some tragic situation. And I said, I want to be a counselor. My students, how can I educate them when they have all of these things going on? We have to get to the meat of the crux of what's blocking them. And so I said, what better way than to become a school counselor? So I enrolled in Dominguez Hill's counseling program, absolutely loved it. And would I say that it supports me in my role now? Every single day. I have to put on that counseling hat every single day, the teaching hat every single day, the administrative hat every single day. There is not one single hat that you do not wear on a daily basis with your students. And I'm really grateful for the commitment that CSUDH has to educating the students in our community. That's what I do every day. These students are, and I'm going to actually bring that to you. I want to challenge the alumni. Sometimes I think that our students, no matter how much I say it, our students believe we were all born with silver spoons in our mouths, that sometimes we don't understand. Our lives have been different. We haven't undergone some of the traumas that they have. And I try to get them to recognize that we are you. I am you, you are me. And not a single one of us is better than any single one of you. Our paths may be different, but we can help you make it. So if you haven't had that cookie cutter walk in life, I'd love for you to connect with you so that you can connect with our students and they can see that there is nothing stopping you. So I say all that to say my career path has been all over the place, including human resources. And so in human resources, I had the opportunity again to work with Dominguez Hills in order to bring in wonderful graduates. So when Ms. Chavez spoke about the relationships, it is extremely, extremely vital. And those relationships, we can help you along the way, support each other along the way, and support that next generation, because we have a whole new generation of students that are waiting for you.
Great response, Tamesha. Thank you very much. Gilbert?
So my path is, I don't know if I want to say, not necessarily full on, education. I mean, I started earlier than probably everybody here. I mean, as far as their path, because I was an English tutor paid through LA Unified at San Pedro High School. So I have a very old employee number. It's even older than some of the teachers that are in my school right now. So then, I went to Long Beach, got a degree in international business and marketing with a minor in Spanish, just in case I wanted to be in education. While I was there, I was a teacher assistant at Long Beach Unified. The goal was to go into advertising. That was the goal. That didn't work out. Needed to pay those loans. So a friend said, you know what, go into education like you go to teaching in first grade. I'm a first grade teacher. So I did. That was not working out well. Sorry, Rhiannon, I just, first grade elementary wasn't for me. So I went to high school, taught 11 years Spanish, including AP Spanish at Fremont High School. Funny enough, 2 blocks away from where I used to live in South LA. And prior to the end of the career, of course, I went back and got my master's at Dominguez, where the reason why is I had a few colleagues that were going into masters in counseling, and I had kids that I was helping on their college applications. So that was kind of like the trigger, right? And, seeing that, our language learners were not getting the assistance they could use, to maneuver the high school system and get out on time. I was like, ugh. So those are the motivators. And then, in the counseling program where, Dr. Mencias, got a great experience with her and also learning about critical theory and actually doing research on critical theory. And that took me even further. And then, became a middle school counselor first. Then college counseling opened up at Maywood Academy. And I was there for 7 years, then hopped around a couple of schools and now still college counselor at Rancho Dominguez for now 7 years. So it's my 26th year. So yeah, that's it. But I'll tell you, multiple hats. Crisis one day, happiness the other. So that's pretty much it. Flexibility, that's the mantra today for me.
Flexibility, I agree wholeheartedly. Principal Ra?
Absolutely. I'm a Gilbert and alumni, forgive me. Like I come from a family of educators. I'm the youngest of 6 children, and I did not want to get an education at all. Like my father, I thought everyone in my family was just some squares. I'm like, you're not making a lot of money. It's just not worth it. And the 2 things that was exposed to me was football and rapping. That was growing up. That's what I wanted to do. I had it all made out. I was going to go play for the Dallas Cowboys, play defensive end, go to the Hall of Fame, buy my parents a house, live happily ever after. Like I had it all set out. Going through high school, my father was actually incarcerated when I was in 11th grade. So he was put in prison, and football was like really my saving grace, but my grades were slipping. And I ended up getting a scholarship. I got a scholarship to play football at Tuskegee in Alabama. And Romero know, I was recruited to play defensive lineman. And then the coaches wanted to switch me to offensive lineman when I got out there. I said, how dare you? You do never switch a defensive lineman to offensive lineman. You don't do that. And I'm going to let you know why this was important, because at 17 years old, I had this mind that I knew I had it all figured out. And me and the coaches got into it, and I played basketball one day and I tore my ACL, my PCL. And the coaches said, we're not going to gray shirt you. And I said, well, y'all can send me back to Compton. And they sent me back to Compton. So I got on an airplane, packed my stuff, and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I became a teacher assistant. And I just started to work with kids, and I started to like really love it. And it's like education chose me, and worked at a non-public school, and I was always good in math. I guess that hustler in me, I was always good with math, the capital markets. So I'm teaching math, and I'm sitting and I'm taking my whole family of educators. I'm talking to the teacher, and I said, how much are you making, dude? You know, because I'm teaching the math class and you're sitting down, you know, the teacher's sitting down, I'm teaching. He's like, yeah, I'm making like 60,000. I said, man, I'm making like $14 an hour and I'm doing your job. Like, he was like, yeah, I think you need to like teach. So that's why I took the CBEST and went to Dominguez Hills, went to CBEST, got my degree. And I would say Dominguez Hills is a community, right? Like it's educators that love you. One of my mantras is love, and it's learning off village energy. And Dominguez Hills provides that village energy. And I became a teacher at a school that my father graduated from, Markham Middle School. My father went to school, my family all went through Markham Middle School. I became a teacher there. And you know, I'm a teacher there, I'm doing things, and then you know, I'm building relationships, and the principal used to call me to go to his office to deal with discipline problems at the school. And I'm the teacher. I'm like, all right, I think I need to be a principal. Right, like that's where it clicked for me. And I said, I want to be a principal. And Dominguez Hills helped because I was just loving kids. And we're just like in my house, we always broke bread. We always at the dinner table. So in my classroom, I used to just get in a circle. Every Monday, we used to break bread. That's what we used to call it. It's time to break bread. I didn't know I was doing restorative practices, you know, and the next thing you know, they come and they said, well, you're doing this restorative practices. Everybody was coming. I was bringing kids from Grape Street, Nickerson Gardens, Haciendas. They were all from different gangs and they were loving it. They was like, man, you're doing restorative practice. I had no idea. And the next thing you know, I'm a dean and restorative practice practitioner doing all kind of across the nation, and then assistant principal at Diego Rivera, where I help do some things. And Dominguez Hills is helping with Tony, and both Tonys at the time were helping and supporting. And then luckily, I became a founding principal, and Dominguez Hills has been along the way. So two things that I really learned from Dominguez Hills that helped me was reading. I got through high school. I wasn't even, this is why I'm also, I didn't read a full book through my high school experience, you guys. But Dominguez Hills made me have to go back and do my practices and write and all these different things. So I really appreciate that. And two books that help lead to that from Dominguez Hills is one, The Alchemist. It helped change my life. And the second book is called Chop Wood, Carry Water. Chop Wood, Carry Water is a book on how to fall in love with the process of becoming great. Those two books are hallmarks in my life. And Dominguez Hills, you guys personify love, which is learning off of village energy.
Thank you very much for that, Principal Raw. Well said. Superintendent Romero?
Yeah, so I shared a little bit about my journey with LA Unified 33 years. Certainly the teaching credential and the admin credential coupled with the master's in education from Dominguez Hills was a great start for me. But the headline, really the headline I wanted to share with you, and this is about recruiting you into local district South and LA Unified. We're a large district, but we're small, but there are so many opportunities and so many pathways because we are large. So it is a great place to be. And I tell everybody, you come to LA Unified because maybe it is getting your foot in the door as a teacher. Who knows? Maybe you want to become a principal. We have 600 elementary schools. We have 1,200 schools. You can go into counseling. You can go into psychiatric social work. You can become a school nurse. You can rise through the ranks as high as you want if you work your tail off. And you have great relationships with folks. But anyway, the headline is LA Unified. There are just so many opportunities. Hope you come on board.
Thank you for that, Superintendent Romero. We're now approaching 10 minutes left on our time here, so I would like to open up the questions to our audience. You've been great enough to provide lots of comments here for our speakers, and I would like to give the opportunity to you to post questions in our chat box for our 5 alumni here. So please go ahead and have at it. Anyone, anyone, anyone? The floor is yours.
Can folks just write their question in the chat if they don't want to speak it out loud?
Yes.
I have a question for our panelists. Thank you all for being here and just inspiring, I think, all of us with your words and the work that you are all doing. I'm also I'm a professor assistant professor in the school leadership program. And my question for you all is, you know, the work that you're doing, the daily grind and the day-to-day, right? Like you said, there's never a typical day. And I know what that's like. And my question is, when you reach, you know, there are moments where you reach burnout, right? And you're exhausted, right? So what fuels you and what resets you, and what do you do to kind of recenter yourselves and roll up your sleeves again and get back in there?
I love that question because I think I probably have cried like 3 times this month from just like so much, right, on your plate. And I always go back to my why, right? And I think that every new teacher has to do this. Write down your why. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be a teacher? Because there's going to be days when you are just run down and there's paperwork and the bureaucracy is just too much to handle. And you're going to say, oh, why am I doing this? You need to go back to that piece of paper. You need to read that why. And you need to make sure that that why is still your why 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 33 years down the line. Is that still your why? And if it's not your why, then you know what? Maybe it's time to just find another why and be passionate about that. But I know that when my days are long, because they are, and like when Principal Ross said, this is a hustle job, hard job, right? Because we're working with children, and all children deserve a champion. But when I want to cry and I want to say, why am I doing this? I look at those 24 kids that are in my classroom, and they look at me. And the other day, one of my kids said, Ms. Chavez, do you know why I love you? And I said, why, Adamaris, why do you love me? She said, because I know you love me more. And I was like, that's my why. You know what? I'm going to wipe those tears, and I'm going to go back the next day, and I'm going to just keep moving for those kids. And I just think that every day, every teacher burnout, it's there, it's real, it's a real thing. But if we always go back to that little piece of paper, so I always have to go look for it and I have to find it, but just know your why, and that's going to keep you moving.
Yeah, if I can jump in, you said something powerful. I say, you know, have a mantra that you can go by. This work, like I said, it's hard. And the unique thing about it is, I'm a quote Nipsey Hussle, the late great, it's a marathon. It is a marathon. And, you know, you don't get no award just running out there, just running full speed, because you can go tire out real quick. Pace yourself. But I would say one of the best things that have helped me is micro goal setting. When you have micro goals and then you celebrate and then you take time to just decompress, like, man, because sometimes you can get used to the day-to-day grind in education. If you come in, pace yourself. You get used to the day-to-day grind and you going every day. You going and you hungry every day. You don't look up 5 years, you haven't took a vacation. Right? You need to take time to micro goal set, take your win. I'm a big sports person. So it's like, are you winning or are you losing? Did you win today? If you say, yeah, celebrate that. Because your list, you know how you go to grocery list? Think about a never ending grocery list. That's what we're in. So you got to micro and chunk this thing. I'm a special ed teacher, so you kind of scaffold it. And as you do that, you celebrate, embrace it. And on those days where it's rough, go read the book, Chop Wood, Carry Water. Because when you fall in love, learn to fall in love with things you don't like to do, right? Like, I get that email from Superintendent Romero. Some things I gotta fall in love with the discipline of being a leader. But it's I think it's beautiful when you are able to micro goal set, celebrate your wins, but understand, like, fall in love with the losses too. Like, those are learning experiences. So that's what's helped me out. So thanks a lot.
I see that Miguel Turan has his hand raised, and then Robert Grande. And then we'll go, our last question can be from Allison O'Neill, who has hers in the chat box, and we'll make sure we get her answered. So go ahead, Miguel.
Thank you, Felicia. Well, first of all, thank you all to all the panelists for coming and giving us a peek at your world in counseling, teaching, and school administration. And it's clear that you all perform your roles and lead with love, empathy, and humanity, towards the students and your colleagues. And my question is related to some of the recent negative media from teachers who have behaved in less than positive ways. I can think right now of 3 examples of the teacher who was mocking the Native American dance, and an English teacher who talked about not pledging the allegiance to the flag, and then the math teacher or another teacher who was talking about Trump and her political views and such. So my question is, how does the district and the schools and at the individual levels, how do you combat that negative publicity that is given towards educators?
I'd go. Feel like I'm talking a lot, but I go. For me personally, at our school, we believe that we control the narrative. I'll be honest with you, Miguel, for every one of those stories that you see, there's a 1,000 stories of positive things that we try to amplify, like at our school. If you go and follow our page, our school page, and you will see us always highlighting teachers and highlighting the great work. And sometimes the echo chamber of what social media can have and narratives can go viral. Not to take away from anything that happened, right? Those things are valid. But I also think there's a counter narrative of so much positive things that don't get the same attention that we also need to be intentional about. I think also relationally, with dealing with those things come up not just in our educational sector, but in every sector in the capital markets, right? From the meat industry, right? From the car industry, there's also things that happen where human beings and people make horrendous mistakes that they shouldn't make. But I think also we buckle down with our great superintendent with locking down on the things that needs to be addressed. But we also must make sure that we're intentional about acknowledging the greatness that's happening on a day. Because I'm also a person that, you are what you fill yourself with, right? You are, you are what you eat. We are what we consume. So I consume and I focus on the positive outcomes and uplifting those who are doing positive work. Because I'll be honest, like hearing that, it can be overwhelming for many people. But I think addressing it head on, these are mistakes. We're going to address it. But also, let's not forget about all the greatness, because I think that the industry as a whole has been attacked because of all these negative things, but it's not highlighting with all these monumental positive things like the Gilbert, like the Rihannas, like the Tameshas, like the Superintendent Romero's that's not acknowledged. So that's what I would say. No, personally from us, we always acknowledge it. If you look on our page, you would think we never have any kind of issues, and that's not the case. But that's just what we want people to consume, and that's what we want our community to consume, right? Because no matter what, there's another book called The Magic Kingdom, the secrets to Disneyland success. And one of the key elements is your competition is everyone. So social media, World Star Hip Hop, all these different things are competing for your views and your audience. Well, we want to compete with positive things. And that's how we look at it, man.
The panelists is okay. We have a couple more burning questions that I want to make sure that our students get to hear from. So if the panelists are okay, we can have Robert Grande go ahead and ask your question.
Hello, you guys. This is really cool. I'm nervous talking to you guys because I'm hearing your examples and I'm like, whoa, I have not stepped in the classroom yet. I'm not a teacher yet. But here's what I wanted to ask you guys. Throughout all your years of being in the field that you're in, has there ever been any type of lessons that really stuck out to you? Like, wow, I really like the way I observed this, I saw this, and that really sticks out to me. That is an ideal way to help a classroom out. Like me, for example, a teacher did COPS. And I was like, COPS? She goes, yeah, that's what I teach my kids. C stands for capitalization, O stands for read over, P stands for punctuation, S stands for spelling mistakes. I was like, oh, that's pretty creative, you know, but I was curious if you guys have anything like that.
Robert, I don't have any specific, we would call it a pedagogical move. I mean, there's so many different ways of teaching. What I'll share is that we must ensure that kids talk. And so this idea of student discourse is so important, and that kids have opportunities to share their thinking. And this is kindergarten through 12th grade, and it's every day. Something else to keep in mind, a traditional way of teaching in America has been, I'm the teacher, I have the one way to solve something or to approach something, and you're going to listen to how this one way. In Local District South for 4 years now, we go strong on this, and you would see it in all of our classrooms. We want to encourage productive struggle. We don't want to deny kids having an opportunity to really struggle with something, with supports. So meaning less teacher talk, more student talk, and for teachers to slow down before we give an answer. Our kids are smart. I don't care where they wake up in the morning. I don't care if a kid is homeless, foster youth, impoverished, marginalized. These kids are smart kids. And we don't want to deny that struggle from a kid because they can't multiply 3 times 4. Hell, there's a lot of ways to solve it. So just remember the voice of the kids, that engagement, the talk in a class, even if you're a little uncomfortable with a little bit of liveliness. But I think those are some fundamental things to teach. And it's certainly in Local District South, we come back to it and we come back to it. So you might have heard the term culturally relevant pedagogy. That's what we're talking about there. Yeah, but Robert, it's a great question about that there. And best of luck. And again, I put my email in the chat, michael.romero@lausd.net. Please email me. Let's talk. I'd love to recruit you to come on board.
If I may add to that,
Gilbert.
as a former teacher and current college counselor, I believe in stealing, sharing, borrowing, because the best ideas come from your colleagues. So steal, share, borrow, especially share, because I'm the type of person at least in my district, and Tamesha, you know this, whenever I create something, I share it out. It's like, look, this is something that I know my students need. Here, everybody, take it, use it, please. It's like, it's because it's not just going to benefit me, it's going to benefit all the kids in the district. That's what I believe as far as equity and access and social justice. So it's like, why keep it for myself? It'd be nice if I could keep it for myself and just like have my kids, boom, blow up. But would that really be fair? No, so I share it. I'm crazy like that, but yeah.
And I just want to add something. I'm an elementary school teacher. I have those kids, they're only little ones. Be silly, sing the songs, rap, dance. You know, today we're doing fact families. I play Sister Sledge. Now we are family, we are fact families, and the kids are dancing. You know, that make learning fun. You know, bring that back. You know, have the kids get up and move, read the room. When you see the kids, you know what, I'm not that entertaining. So come on, friends, let's get up and dance, you know, have them move around. You know, our classrooms are a safe place of learning. Like Mr. Romero said, you know, I don't, there's no procedures. You know, have the kids, they come up to my chair and they're teaching their strategies. And they're way better than my strategies. You know, I have no idea, like, how did you solve that problem? You know, and they get so proud of themselves. And we call it, you know, that's Jeremiah's problem. That's Jeremiah's strategy. I'm going to do a Jeremiah strategy tomorrow, Ms. Chavez. They love it. They love teaching. I just say there's this thing that I read, and it's like, they're only little once. Sing the songs, do the dancing. They're going to remember you. They're going to remember forever that their crazy teacher dressed up for Halloween. That's what they're going to remember, that their crazy teacher loved them and did a rap song, So if you're teaching elementary school, bring all that fluff. Bring the fluffiness to the classroom. The kids will remember you forever, and you will just enjoy yourself in the classroom.
Or the dad jokes.
And that doesn't go away in high school. That's one of the things that I have learned with them. It does not go away. And recognize that the students, they have so much to bring. They may not have realized what they have yet. Help them tap into what they have too, their gift, because each one of them has it, every single student. So you just have to find what's going to help bring it out of them.
Yeah. And I would just say this, 3 things for me is build relationships, Robert. Like, relationships matter. Relationships are so important. Next is like, have relevance in what you're doing, like have purpose behind it. Like, connect the dots for kids and you will see monumental growth. You will literally unlock their wildest potential. And then last is like the attention to detail. It really matters. Like the attention to details in your classroom and attention to details with understanding the kids in your classroom. So relationships, relevance, and rigor, Robert, and you go far.
Thank you guys. I'm soaking up everything. I'm gonna borrow you guys' ideas and incorporate into my classroom. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Well, with that positive remarks, I want to share with the panel. Thank you. We appreciate you. This is coming from the alumni office, as an alumna myself and a fellow Toro with Gilbert. We appreciate all of you, and we love the Toro pride that you guys all share and can broadcast it widely to our students and support them on their journey as they embark to be educators and to follow your footsteps. The one thing that we always share with our students is that our alumni are here to support them. It's always easier to follow the footsteps that the alums have already taken. And so we appreciate you guys tonight and your time. That's all the time we have for tonight. And I know this panel can continue on and share so many more stories. So I hope this is not the last time we see you, and hopefully we'll actually see you inside the classroom. And keep in touch with us, and we hope to see you all soon. That's all our time for today. Current students, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Keep in contact with Mike Romero here. Make sure you email him and stay connected. Thank you, and once a Toro, always a Toro. Good night, everyone.